Welcome to 7 Pot Club. I'm Rob.
I grow hot peppers.
It's mid-August here in Minneapolis. Time for a hot pepper grow season update.
2021's gonna be such a wild ride. Inside and out.
Usually we'd be at the very peak of pepper picking season, but later than normal planting, drought conditions, and periods of extreme heat mean that our pepper plant progress is running a few weeks behind this year. But that's not completely a bad thing. Full-on harvest season means the plants start looking yellowish and played out. But as of today, everything is still green and vibrant. It makes me temporarily forget we're in the waning weeks of summer. It also means things were looking good when we were visited earlier this week by Liz, a photographer from the Star Tribune. She took photos to accompany an article that will be appearing in our local newspaper later this month. Kat and I were interviewed by reporter Erica Pearson several weeks back, and we'll be sure to let you know when the article is posted online. Here's our most recent harvest from a few days ago. A lot more pods have ripened since then, so I expect the next harvest to be much bigger. Soon I hope each harvest will cover this whole table. Be sure to follow 7 Pot Club on social for daily updates. I surveyed the garden this morning, and the next harvest is definitely going to be much bigger. Due to the challenging weather, I don't think the plants are going to get as large this year as they normally do. But they are definitely loaded down with fruit. It takes a lot of work to produce this garden each year, and this is the reward. You know, I'm not really an expert gardener and have never claimed to be one. This front yard garden exists because of my love of peppers in all their sizes, shapes, colors, flavors, and levels of pungency. When I started doing this, the only way to obtain unusual varieties was to grow them yourself. I may cut back a little in future years, but as long as I have a place to put out a few pots, I'll never stop. It's a passion. Each year, I seem to have at least one plant that always looks stressed and just doesn't thrive. This season, it's this New Mix Vaquero. It's obviously shutting down. We're going to harvest all its pods before I gently help it bid adieu to this garden bed. Today, I have a few topics to cover. First up, small grow bags. Back in the spring, I did a video about Viper Spectra fabric grow bags, which I have in 4 sizes: 3, 5, 7, and 10 gallon. I had high hopes for the small 3-gallon bags. They hold as much soil as these much larger 12-inch plastic pots, but are about the same size as these smaller 10-inch pots, which only hold 1.5 gallons. I was hoping to grow sizable plants in these small bags, but it didn't turn out that way. Most of the plants in these bags are very small. Some of them almost look like banchis, which are pepper plants grown to resemble miniature bonsai trees. Most of the plants in these bags look pretty healthy and are producing. They're just tiny. Let's compare with plants in 10 and 12-inch pots. Now, they're not the same variety, so it's not a direct comparison, but it does help to illustrate my point. So, what's going on here? It's probably related to the soil around the edge of the bags drying out during the hot and dry early weeks of June. Instead of expanding to the edges of the bag, the roots stayed in the moist center. So the roots never expanded to the edge of the bag and didn't get the benefits of air pruning. I don't have a drip line, nor do I have time to monitor and water these bags multiple times a day. I guess that's what you'd have to do until the roots were fully established. Maybe they would work better in a lighter color. The larger black Viper Spectra bags don't seem to have this issue. I have plenty of plastic pots, so I'm probably not going to deploy these 3-gallon bags next season. Now, let's see how plants are doing in 5-gallon grow bags. It's time for a fish versus fowl fertilizer challenge update. I'm growing 2 varieties of peppers using 2 different fertilizers. The fish, which is Fishnur Organic Fish Manure Humus Compost, and the fowl, Sustain natural fertilizer derived from turkey litter. The Fishner plants had a pound of Fishner added to the pot when transplanted, which in my experience is enough to last all season. Other than that, they haven't received any other nutrients other than a few foliar sprays of Fishner compost tea. The Sustain plants have been fertilized a few times over the season. I started with 12 ounces of 464 at transplant. Last month, I added about a quarter cup of 824 to support growth. Last week, I added another quarter cup of 464 to promote flowering and fruiting. Each time I fertilized, I watered using compost tea brewed up by dropping a Sustain compost tea bag in a gallon of water and letting it brew overnight. Here are the two Carolina Reaper test plants, Fishner on the left and Sustain on the right. I'm not really seeing a lot of difference here. The size of the plants is very similar and they both are bearing a similar amount of fruit, some already starting to ripen. The other two test plants are Trinidad Scorpion Long SR. Again, Fishner on the left and Sustain on the right. Here you can see an obvious difference. The Sustain plant is much taller, but it's only starting to produce flowers and pods. The Fishner plant is already loaded with fruit. We're going to save all the pods we harvest from these plants, and the winner will be crowned based on the total weight of peppers produced. So we're still weeks away from declaring a winner. Stay tuned. Let's look in on our capsicum companions. For those of you who are new here, I like to grow Portulaca grandiflora, commonly known as moss rose, as a companion planting in some of the pepper pots around the yard. I also grow them in the ground in the larger rectangular bed. They attract bees, and their brightly colored rose-like flowers are quite cheerful. Portulaca is native to South America, just like peppers. I expect my Portulaca to be respectful roommates for their capsicum hosts, and they usually are. But in a season where the pepper plants have been slow growing, the Portulaca have been out of control. I guess they really like dry, hot weather. Instead of just adding a bit of color to pepper pots, they've been taking over, almost choking out their hosts. The other day, I trimmed them back in this row of pots near the front door. That helped, but several days later, they're already starting to take over again. I don't know how much they're affecting the growth and production of their host plants, but I may plant them in their own pots next year. Companions don't have to live together. They could have the plant pot equivalent of a little guest cottage. We'll see. I have all winter to think about it. I want to wish a belated happy birthday to Mattis from Denmark. Matt turned 18 on August the 13th, and he says that 7 Pot Club inspired him to start growing hot peppers. He sent this photo showing a couple of his 24 plants. Hope you had a great birthday, Matt. Soon it will be time for my annual 2-part Walking the Pepper Path episode, where I'll show you every hot pepper plant and variety growing in our garden this year. If you enjoy our content and would like to see more, you can help us grow by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and tapping the bell to be notified when we post new episodes. Check out all our 7 Pot Club logo and hot pepper related apparel and other merch at 7pot.club/merch. If you'd like a free 7 Pot Club membership card and stickers, get the details at 7pot.club/card. And for even more 7 Pot Club, follow our daily exploits on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For 7 Pot Club, I'm Rob.